You're not. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started then. Amber was hoping we didn't have enough.
I didn't get a text, but
What we about did. I'm like, do we need to text somebody or call? Did anybody say?
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and open up our meeting for the August 10th regularly scheduled board meeting. We're gonna start with approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections at this point?
The only changes, I talked to Zach, he's got a conflict at 6:30, not too far from now, so I was just gonna switch the construction update to after the consent agenda items.
Okay. Is everybody good with that? No argument? We good? All right. All right, open forum.
we need to
No,
vote.
yeah, sorry. Yes, please. Is there a motion for that adjusted agenda?
I move to accept the agenda with the said changes.
I second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. All right, give Chandler time to walk over there. Now we're ready. Open forum. Negative ghost driving. All right, gonna move on to discussion action of the consent agenda. So the first is the approval of the minutes of the July 13th regular meeting is the first one, and the second item is payment of claims.
The only question I have is on the full court finish gym, was that at the high school or the grade school? And is that for us doing it or somebody else doing it? Page 13.
I guess that's for the elementary gym.
Yeah, that's the only one that's scheduled right now. We have not
Okay.
scheduled the high school. The elementary is Wednesday. So I'm guessing that's the stuff for the elementary.
Copy. Thank you.
If I figure out otherwise.
Thanks.
Is there any other discussion? No? Terry? Is there a motion for consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. All right, so we are moving the construction update to here, correct? Is where you want it?
Yeah. Are you gonna pick the?
Yeah.
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 Finished panels that goes on the front. We do have a good picture of that in the pictures that were attached, and I can scroll down through that in a second. But as soon as we get all of the I forgot, we do also have storefront windows ongoing. There will be a couple that would be the southwest corner that will hold off a little bit until we have the exterior sidewalks and everything put in place so we can get everything installed, making sure it's spanning the correct way. But we will do all of our joint sealants as soon as all of those areas are wrapped up. And then really outside of the building will start looking complete. Interior wise, first floor, we're working first floor to second floor. First floor, they're near complete with hanging drywall. We got a couple small loose ends, but they're also in process of drywall finishing. So we're looking to have that complete and wrapped up towards the end of this week. And then MEPF overhead roughing is also complete. So really working on MEPF and drywall on first floor. Moving up to second floor, they're in progress of hanging drywall. And then as soon as they're done hanging, they'll move into the finishing stages of that. So really kind of just hopscotching from one area to the next. And then right now, second floor, we have MEPF overhead roughing ongoing as well. That includes all of your ductwork and fire sprinkler piping, electrical runs, everything like that. And then lastly, to kind of touch on some of the roughing items, the last board update we had mentioned, we have all the RTUs set on the roof. We will be starting to run the gas piping on that roof, targeting next week, pending any weather. So we can really start to get kind of towards the more finishes stages. Really the exciting things, we'll have paint starting here probably towards the end of the month. But in order to do that, you got to get all the RTUs up and running so we can get the building acclimated so we can install all your casework and countertops and ceilings and all that. So that's really the main focus in area A. Moving on to area B. This is kind of split up into a couple sections. So this is mainly our interior along the west side. So this will be the classrooms on that west end. Previously had drywall hanging complete. That released us to do MEPF overhead rough-in. So kind of the same thing as area A. They are moving in, installing all of the ductwork, overhead piping, everything necessary to get those rooms up and operational. The only thing that we kind of have a loose end in that west end right now is we are working through some lintels. We work back and forth with Kevin and his team quite a bit, just kind of understand what these lintel details look like, as well as there is some existing cracking that we're looking into as well. And we'll be on site on Wednesday to kind of review that as well to try to finish that game plan. But really, this front end of area B will finish with area A, classrooms to the elementary side. The other part of area B right now is the existing gymnasium. It is currently in process of being cleaned and prepped to turn back over to the school for temporary use for the school year. So just working with Jeff off and on to make sure everything is in check for them to host or have practices and PE classes and all that. We do have fire marshal showing up, state fire marshal showing up on Wednesday, and he will walk that area with us as well to ensure everything is done correctly so we can turn that back over. Area C and D, underground's complete. And if you've driven by, you can kind of see we've got structure ongoing. We have had Goldie pour out the slab on grade for both areas C and D. There is a block out you'll see in the slab that is access for our crane, so they can get in there and reach all the necessary spots for the structural steel. Steel is ongoing right now, so you'll see that progressing, and then really once steel goes, we'll get the last bit set and then move into slab on metal deck pours, which will kind of release us into the same stages as area A progressed. So it'll turn into exterior framing, interior framing, in-wall rough-ins, sheetrock, and all that. So getting some big milestones over in areas C and D. Area E, gymnasium, we do have a lot of the exterior framing is complete. Obviously, we have the DENS deck on. IWP is there starting today to get the air barrier installed. So that'll be everything on that DINS deck that's coating the exterior sides of those of the framing. That'll then let us put metal panels on the exterior. So, but interior wise, they also have the interior framing going on. I think I included in the photos. We do have a lot of the storage rooms in the gymnasium, and really most of the interior framing in all of Area E, which would be the court level, as well as up on first floor, will be there, or will be installed, and then we're continuing on with in-wall rough-in with plumbing and electrical. So making big strides there as well. On the exterior, like I said, air barrier starting this week. We do have the east side low roofing complete. And then on the high roof, which is the gymnasium roof, they do have all of the metal panels constructed or installed. Obviously, we went through some storms a while back, but got all that corrected, working through getting that finalized. But they are as far as they can go right now until area C and D, which is taller than the gym, is wrapped up, so we can tie in all of our flashings correctly. So moving along in area E. And then lastly, area F, this is the VOAG building, so our summer renovation. We are wrapping up right now, worked over the weekend to get paint and ceiling tile and sealed floors, all that wrapped up and complete. And then working the remainder of the early part of this week to finish any touch-up items, any final last bit of install before we plan to do punch list and fire marshal walk this coming Wednesday. And then as soon as we establish that punch list, we will be able to turn that back over to you guys and allow you guys to have classes in there this fall. And just quickly kind of going through photos. We do, like I said, this is area A. This is their structure for basically the metal panels. So they go in there and install all of their girts, and then their metal panels are the black finish. Obviously, probably a little bit further than this when I sent this through, but this was last week. Like I said, they'll be wrapping up, and they should be, I believe, wrapping up by the end of this week with area A, if I recall that correctly. So looking to really start looking like a finished building. This is also area A. This is the obviously masonry and stone, and then we will have metal panel in between the windows as well. So like I said, working their way around the building kind of clockwise. Then area A, they're in process of finishing all the drywall. So as soon as we have that wrapped up and complete, we'll start with prime and first coat paint in kind of in order with second floor. Second floor, we've got overhead rough in as well as top out going on. We do sheetrock top out before we do any MEPF rough in, so they can kind of get in there and finish those walls to a good level. Let's see, and then this is area B. This is kind of clean up this was end of last week. I know they're back in there today and tomorrow trying to get everything wrapped up, but really have some of the new walls framed out, as well as trying to get some coats of paint in there, as getting it as far as we can. But like we've spoken to the team, it'll be a combined effort throughout the school year. We might have to get in and out, but this will have, hard to see in this photo, but all the lines coming across is the new fire sprinkler, and then new walls built up around and filled in. And then area C and D, this is a photo looking from the stage and the cafetorium, slab on grade. So this is currently where they are setting steel right now. And then this was area C. This was the second slab on grade pour prep. But like I said, as of now, this would have been early morning Friday. Let's see. They've got all of C and D poured out with the exception of this block out over here for the crane. As I mentioned before, area E, we've got interior framing ongoing. So that'll continue with in-wall rough end and sheetrock, as like I said, as soon as we progress through those areas. So more interior framing. Sorry, some of those kind of turned out a little blurry. And then these area C and C steel, we have yet to get area D steel on site, but area C is on site. Obviously, they've shaken it out. Took them a couple days to shake steel out, but they're in process of hanging and really getting that building put up pretty quick. And then area F, this is the VOAG renovation. This is the restroom just after completing the tile. So this is floor and wall tile, as well as the new art room. Obviously, this is a progress photo. We're a little bit further, ready for punch list on Wednesday. If you're able to see the screen, I did pull up 2 photos real quick, just kind of as a quick, more brief update, kind of where the casework is at, paint's at. We've got ceiling tile drop in this photo. Some of the electrical trim out is complete. So, but obviously we're wrapping this up in the summer reno, so we can turn that back over to you guys.
So you're gonna have to reshare your screen for that one.
So let me. How about now?
There you go.
Okay. So this is area C. I believe this was earlier this morning. I'd have to double check the date on it, but they're in process. So like I said, setting from basically the stage moving out. So really, really good to see structural steel rolling in. And then if you weren't able to see the casework, are you able to see that now?
No.
Let me try one more. How about now?
There we go.
Perfect. So, like I said, we're getting much closer. Plan to walk fire marshal through on Wednesday for 100% walk, giving the okay to have classes back in there. And then right after he's done walking, we will be walking with school and SPT and the team to walk and establish punch list. And as soon as we have that in hand, that is the okay to basically move back in and start getting ready for school. All right. That's all I got for you.
Perfect. Anybody have questions or?
I got a question, Zach.
Okay.
Have you got with the architect concerning that north wall of the existing gym, as far as the structural integrity of it?
So I think you're talking the northwest corner in the classroom.
Northwest corner with the blocks.
Yes. Yep. Well, that's one of the items we're going to walk on Wednesday. We've been going back and forth. That's part of the lintel question as well. We've been working through. We've got to put a couple of openings in that wall in order to get from area C to B and B to A. So that's part of that. But we do also have an RFI in and are working back and forth with SPT and their structural team to understand what we have to do on that northwest corner to alleviate or remediate some of those conditions.
So you'll have a better idea come Wednesday.
Yeah, we
Correct.
should. Yeah, we're meeting with PEC Structural again tomorrow to finalize that. And then we'll meet with Zach and his team Wednesday to kind of finalize what we need to do moving forward for that.
Okay.
Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that update.
Yep. Thanks all.
Have a good evening.
You as well.
All right. Ready? Okay. Mr. Cook.
Yeah.
You're up, sir.
Sweet.
Excuse
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here to ask the school board to consider adding high school baseball as a sanctioned spring activity beginning this spring, spring of 27. I understand this isn't a small request. Adding any activity requires careful consideration for the participation, the costs, scheduling, facilities, staffing, and long-term sustainability. This proposal isn't about creating a new baseball culture in Rawlins County, because that culture already exists. The question is whether our students should have the opportunity to continue it at the high school level. When I first began looking into this idea, I honestly didn't know whether it was realistic. So rather than starting with an opinion, I started asking questions. And over the past several months, I've worked to answer those questions, and the packet I've provided you is the result of that research. Tonight, I'd like to briefly explain why I believe this proposal deserves serious consideration. As I worked through the research, 3 themes kept appearing: opportunity, community, and feasibility. The first question was whether the students actually wanted this opportunity. So in March and April of last school year, I distributed interest forms to students in grades 7 through 11, and those are in your packet. 27 students signed the form to play baseball. A healthy high school roster only requires around 14. This alone doesn't guarantee long-term success, but it does demonstrate enough interest that this conversation is based on something measurable and not just assumptions. What does show promise for long-term success in the participation consistency of our youth baseball programs. Over the past 7 summers, Rawlins County has averaged 164 players participating in baseball each year. This tells us it's not just a one-time spike. It clearly shows that we have a consistent pipeline of students choosing baseball throughout their youth. We have opportunities for students from T-ball through age 16, but we don't have an opportunity for 17 and 18-year-olds to continue representing our community and the sport many of them have spent years playing. When they reach high school, that opportunity simply ends. And it's not because they lose interest, but because the program just doesn't exist. Adding baseball to allow those students to continue representing Rawlins County. Baseball also offers something unique amongst high school sports. Success isn't determined primarily by size, speed, or strength. It allows students who may develop later physically or whose strengths lie in skill, strategy, and repetition to continue competing and learning the valuable life skills that come from team sports, especially a sport rooted in overcoming repeated failure. I also realize this proposal isn't starting from zero. Over the last decade, Summer Rec, volunteers, parents, coaches, and local businesses have invested thousands of hours and thousands of dollars into baseball in this community. The fields have been improved, the equipment has been purchased, participation has remained strong. Summer Rec has formally committed to helping with equipment, facilities, and other costs, and that commitment is in your packets. This support is significant because community support isn't something we have to hope for when the program begins. It's already there. The next question became whether this could actually work. I researched scheduling to build a potential opponent list and examine Oberlin's schedule. Those are also in your packet. I also reviewed KSHA facility requirements and spoke to the KSHA lead for baseball. And I contacted athletic directors from other schools who have baseball to understand their programs and their struggles. What I found is that there are challenges. Scheduling would require planning, some facility improvements would still be necessary, and there'd be some costs that deserve careful review. But I did not find anything that convinced me this program is unrealistic. I also wanted to address quickly the question of coaching. This proposal has never been about creating a position for myself, but it's about creating an opportunity for the students. If the board decides this is the right direction, I'm committed to helping build a stable program. After months of research, conversations, and preparation, I've come to believe that Rawlins County can sustain a great opportunity for the students for years to come. Every major question appears answered. The students are here, or the student interest is here, the community support is here, the participation pipeline is here for years to come, and Summer Rec is committed to being a partner. Ultimately, the decision belongs to this board. My hope isn't tonight that every concern just disappears, but simply that this proposal is evaluated based on the work that's already been done and on the opportunity it could create for future Rawlins County students and boys here. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jace.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions? so far?
You're talking about developing a team for Rollins County.
For the high school, yeah.
So, I mean, I've heard the possibility of combining with Oberlin.
So there's, when I look into that, I see participation numbers. There's obviously some bonuses for that, and there's other things to consider. For instance, they're struggling right now, admittedly, with their numbers being low, somewhere around 12. And that's hard to have a baseball team with that many. And they've committed to that. They've got their jerseys and their equipment. So it's understandable for them for sure why getting some Rollins County students to play with them would be something to look at. The problem for me with that, potentially with Rollins County baseball, is our numbers. I anticipate our numbers would be high enough that it's going to take opportunity away from both schools if we were to do that. There's also other schools in the area that are trying to get baseball that they could look at to co-op with that also don't have the numbers, whereas I believe we do. While I'm on that topic, one issue is obviously going to come up is Title IX. I talked to Ellis, and they said so if you look at this, baseball in the state, Ellis and Quinter have a co-op going on. And when I talked to their AD about this, the reason for that was so that they could fill the numbers for softball. Neither school had enough for that. So co-oping with Oberlin in that way does present an opportunity to fulfill Title IX requirements. But the one thing you have to consider, and I got this talking to the Oakley coach or AD, is that when schools co-op in a sport like this, it does, the enrollments do combine. So if we co-op with Oberlin, we would be probably a 3A baseball team, which would be tough regardless. But that's kind of what I've found about it.
You see no problem in the next few years of having 15 to 20?
I don't see a problem with it now. The next group coming up that's kind of in that like 5th, 6th, and then that 7th and 8th grade group, they've got an astounding number of kids, 38 or so. And there is an attrition rate, from age group to age group. But we've held really strong numbers in K-18 since 2020, I believe it was in the packet. I mean, we're usually in that 17. And in K-18, in case there's a misnomer about that, that is 13 to 16-year-olds. That is not up to 18-year-olds. So once they're past essentially being a junior, there's no more baseball here.
Is this including junior high as well? All those numbers, or how do you?
So
How does that work?
yeah, so I included 7th grade through juniors when I was pulling kids last year because I wanted to show that there was some coming up. Yeah, but this would obviously just be for freshmen through seniors.
senior.
So that's why I stopped at junior, because those kids are now seniors.
In here it says that kind of by January is kind of the goal of the deadline.
Yep. Jeremy Holloway at Acacia, he said he doesn't need to hear anything from the school about it at all until about mid-January. He did say, though, that for scheduling purposes, he hopes that we figure it out way before then, because it can get hard to schedule past October or so. But January is kind of the Acacia deadline.
Have you done, or has anybody done a cost breakdown of what, I mean, I noticed there's discussion in it, but of what uniforms and everything?
Yeah, so there's 2 items really for that. It'd be pants and jerseys, as part of that uniform. Pants are a little easier because we don't have to rely on like some kind of design. Summer Rec has pants, and I think that's part of their commitment is they'd be willing to let us use pants that we already have. And we have a lot of pants. Might need to get some more, but there's also a need for those in the summer program as well, and they recognize that. The jersey part is more what that cost in your packet is about. I have personal ties with a supplier that doesn't, not primarily for sports jerseys, but they have them. And so I started there, and that was the cheapest. And then I went to a few other supplier websites that are a little bit more well-known, Rollins and things like that. So that cost in your packet, that was it 15 to almost 4,000. That would be for 30 home or just single home or away jerseys. That wouldn't be home and away. which doesn't appear to be a problem from Acacia's standpoint. Pants actually determine the home and away, whether they're white or gray. So there's ways to get around it. Oberlin ended up only getting one jersey from what I believe Sean told me. That cost there, this is the first thing I'm going to speculate at tonight. I do think that cost would, as advertised to the community, could be paid for in a week easily through donations. I have very little doubt about that.
What's the range, or I know like wrestling goes all over and track, everywhere goes all over. What does that look like for out of town games?
Yeah, so that's the toughest part, I think, is the scheduling. If we want to stay 2 hours or under on our travel, we're going to have to go across state lines, which Oberlin is also doing. They scheduled some games against Ray and Holdridge. We probably need to look even further into that because games like Plainville, which is a co-op with somebody, Victoria, I think, games like that is like over 2 hours for us. There is a ton of teams in the Southwest that are co-oping right now. None of those are super close for us either. So we really need to look at like Northeast Colorado and Southwest Nebraska to fill some of those games. The nice thing about it is everybody a long time ago figured out double headers is how you fill your schedule. There wouldn't be enough time otherwise. So, Oberlin's schedule, I think the furthest opponent they had last year was Plainville, or at least for us it would have been. We replaced that with Oberlin, throw a doubleheader in there, maybe even play them twice for a total of 4 games. And our schedule looks a lot better at that point, where we have very few games we have to travel 2 hours or more for. When it gets to regionals and further on, you're looking at Hayes most of the time. You shouldn't have to go past or to like past Hayes or Salina or further until state.
Can't be any worse than the regionals for track this year.
Did you say something needed to be done with the facilities down there?
There's just little things. I think our field is in much better. This isn't a bash on Oberlin. I think dimensions wise, our field is in better shape than Oberlin's is as far as backstop is concerned. The area for foul territory, they've really improved their dirt in their field. So no bash on them at all. Dimensions, we're in a better spot. There are some other things. PA system is probably the biggest thing that I've realized in the Acacia book. We got to have somewhat of a PA system, even if it's just one speaker. The main concern there is crowd control and weather announcements. Other than that, and I think that's something Summer Rec is also planning on doing this next year anyway for their own uses. So, and then to me, the one that I always kind of squint at every year is we don't have like an American flag out there in the outfield yet. So that'll be another thing we got to get out there, which I know they'll happily do. It's actually funny. As we're speaking right now, there's a guy from a couple hours away rebuilding our pitcher map. We tried to get it during the season, but it's happening right now. So there's always improvements being done.
We are very lucky in that respect. Gloria has taken good care of that for a lot of years. She's done very well.
You were talking about you have to know by January.
Yeah, I think Acacia needs a report from us that we're going to do that by January.
But for planning purposes, you need probably the possibility of being notified earlier than that.
Yeah, we might have trouble. So we could have a season in 27 and not have a single game scheduled all the way up to January. The issue is to be eligible for regionals, we have to play at least 10 games, and the doubleheaders count as 2, obviously. So if we don't start scheduling soon, then that would be the real risk, is just not finding enough opponents that haven't already booked up their season, and then we could miss regional play. Other than that, but we could have a 6-game season, we would just miss regionals.
Any more questions? We are really grateful that you guys all came. I assume you came for this part, right? All right. Don't want to stay for the rest of the meeting? No.
They got fall sports meetings.
I know, we've got that at 7. I got a kid going, are you coming, Mom?
We have some good baseball players. We really do. And we've been to state in that K team 2 years in a row now. And it's not really about being competitive. I think being competitive is nice. Oberlin's feeling it right now. They haven't won in their first 2 years. But if we were going to try to be competitive right off the rip, I don't think there'd ever be a better time than right now. Because we compete in the summer. Again, they don't have their 17 in Beloit and Osborne and Smith Center. They don't have their 17 and 8-year-olds either, 18-year-olds. Same age group as us, but we're competing and we're consistently, going to state at this point. And we got a lot of youth coming, so.
Well, you got a team here already.
We do. We got enough.
Do you, and it's speculation, what do you think these numbers would look like without the possibility of dual sport? I was just going through here. A lot of them have 2 sports circled.
Yeah.
I guess I say that just we're student athletes and you start doing dual sport. I have some serious concerns about dual sporting and the amount of time they're gone. So, that's one of my concerns.
Yeah, no.
And because,
Well, and there's
It's a numbers
academics to consider too,
Yep.
and kids wanting to, and so whether they either have to make a choice for a sport or if they get to play two, the consequences that come along with that. That one's hard because obviously my sign-up sheet didn't include hey, sign this again and tell me if you had to choose one, which one would it be? I think these kids here probably could speak to that, but the hard thing about it is like looking at Oberlin, they also did dual sport, and so you could look at some numbers there, but they also historically, and I think the paper even said this, they historically have low participation in sports anyway. Versus the Kansas average. So they're not really reliable to look at those numbers. I can't really answer that. It'd really be up to the kids.
I'll Oberlin has reached out to us about doing a co-op. And I mean, I want to explore all the options. I'm all for opportunities for our kids. What if it's truly what our kids want to do and it makes sense, that's what I would support too. We'll probably put out another interest survey with a few more questions like that.
Yeah.
If you can only do one sport, are you more likely to do it? Would you still do it if it was a co-op? All those types of things are,
let them rate it.
Yeah.
Because, and I mean, it's it's your concern because how many of us as parents say, my gosh, that spring
it's crazy.
Gone.
So,
they're constantly on the run.
I start K-team practice in April and I'm fighting it too.
Right.
So, yeah, I totally understand.
Looked into a lot of the dual sporting, because it has come up. To be honest, if we would go this route and consider dual sporting, I would really consider a policy where kids have to carry a B average to dual sport. Just because, if you can't carry a B average and then you're trying to commit that time to 2 of those sports. So I know there's schools that do that. It's not just being arbitrarily pulling that out of the air. So, so just some.
There's more schools out there doing that sort of thing. I think there's a lot more that we could talk to and learn from them how they're doing it, and absolutely find a comprehensive way to make it.
Yeah. So I hope I didn't come off as negative against you guys because I am not against baseball at all. I love baseball. My son played baseball. I don't know what he did. He might play baseball. He didn't put his name on it. Who knows? But,
and if we don't ask the questions, people will ask us, and we're like, hold on, wait a second. We're gonna.
I will say too, I really need to research the travel buses. Like we're very limited, right? And between buses and drivers, and it's a real issue. I love baseball. I played when I was a kid, so. Not very well, but.
Well, we are sure grateful. Thank you, Jace, for coming, and thank you guys for coming too.
Thanks for having me.
Enjoy the rest of your summer.
All 5 days.
All 5 days of the day. I'm so sorry, teachers.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jason.
I was just bored, that's why.
He's just waiting for all of them to come down there.
Oh God, I can think of a video of a place with the baby.
I was gonna say, I got a kid asking me if I can go to the meeting at 7, so.
We better get this done then.
Yeah, let's
In
get
like
her
15
pattern.
minutes.
You got 15 minutes, or we'll have to take a break, because I'm gonna be the only parent to Kimberly. All right, second reading for the classified staff handbook. Are there any?
The only thing that changed on it was the wait, I'll just I'm trying to find it. Was this wording the 3 that they're here for 3 to 9 years before they can get a percentage of their leave?
Right.
That was
Which we
the
talked about.
yeah. So that was the only thing that changed to make it get delayed, I guess. Everything else would be changes as well. It just
Is there any other concerns in that board? We can make a motion and put this in tonight. Is that?
yeah.
Or do we need another?
No, we did our first reading last time on it. So yeah, I'm asking for or
So just
recommending
to
a
approve
motion.
the second reading or approve the what?
Yeah,
The second reading.
yeah.
Okay, I move to approve the second reading of the classified staff handbook update.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried.
Just a food for thought. I think that might have exceeded 5 minutes, so we just better keep that in mind for other presentations. If we're gonna let somebody do it and not follow the sheet, then
Did it say, does it
I
have?
think the
They were-
presentation shall not exceed 5, and he stuck to about 5, but I think it's the.
I know, I'm
Yeah,
just,
for the
as a
con-
reminder, if it went a little over, I think we
Fair
should
enough.
probably keep that in mind for other people too.
Fair enough, point taken. Okay, and appointing someone for the Northwest Tech representative.
Watch not here, they're quick, Ron.
Is it Jordan?
It's
It's
Jordan,
Jordan.
but he doesn't want to do it anymore because it's on Saturdays.
We did everything else on Saturdays.
I was gonna say, my weekends aren't even mine, I'm the barn most weekends, so. And not my barn.
Both fun.
Both barns.
We tried to volunteer Chandler, but he didn't seem that interested either.
Man. Eric?
Yeah.
Does it have to be a board?
No, I think we decided did not, correct?
I
What?
think Oberlin's
Does not have to be
No,
a
it doesn't.
board member.
No, it does not have to be. a
So
board.
perhaps if someone wanted to. Who? When do we need to have this decided? I mean, I know last month.
We've always done July. It's never taken past, so I don't know what the actual deadline is, to be honest with you.
I mean, nose goes, but I'm not gonna put anybody else in that hot seat either.
I mean, we only have 4 of us here.
I
Then
know.
wait till next month again. I don't know.
Okay, well, is there any suggestions or?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Just next meeting.
Next meeting,
Okay.
we shall table such matter. I will be gone. Yeah. Wait, you guys might put me at it. I better not miss out.
Yeah,
We
you
can do
might
that.
be careful
That's
with
what I
that
did
one.
to Jordan.
I knew it was gone full time. You don't miss July meetings.
He knew it was the vote this meeting too, so
See, he's just,
maybe he's wanting
he
it.
said he had sports
I think
stuff
he said
check
no.
out. He has a legit
It's done it.
excuse. All right, needs assessment.
All right. Okay, so as part of the budgeting process, we have to go over the needs assessment. Apologize. And I apologize. This is definitely a better document to read electronically than printing it. So it might be better if you look through it, and maybe have some questions for next meeting. But it just goes through like the head count in each building. I mean, it just kind of goes all the way through.
And this is for last year.
Yeah, and this is for last year's data. The state assessment review is from not last year, it's from the year before. So in there. So the three of us, really, Jeff and Lacey, went through it all. I was in there, but I was doing other things. They went through and filled out the information on both these sheets, and then kind of went through. Part of this is if you go to this tab, these are the same questions that go into this Board of Education part. And so it kind of gives information on what's needed, barriers to student needs, budget actions, and then a timetable for that. And then if there's any thoughts from the board, things like that, we can add that in there certainly as well.
Okay.
We do have to have this completed by when we pass the budget in September, though.
Right.
So if that's fair enough to look through it and
Yep.
then go through
Well,
any
there's
more.
only 4 of us. So.
Yeah. So that's fine.
Okay. All right. Next, I like this meeting. The professional nurse service agreement with Rollins County.
Yeah, this is the same contract now that we've, I believe, used for the last couple of years. Cost. It's the cost of it is just the reimbursing basically the county for their time. Last year, I don't know their hourly what that would be, but last year, looking at the contracted nurse services in our budget, our accounting software, it was $8,178 is what we for a nurse. So
Money well spent.
yeah,
I was gonna say that's the cheapest nurse you're ever gonna find.
yeah,
Well,
and they do a great job
feel
too.
like in the last,
Yeah.
they've done great.
Yeah, anytime I've needed absolutely the smallest thing, they're here to help.
And they've been really helpful. Like, we're supposed to pass like a fentanyl policy.
Yeah.
Like, so they have a draft of it. I need to look through it some more before I bring it to you guys. But
Well, they've been good with our AEDs.
Yeah, they helped us get
and-
new AEDs.
Yeah.
They gotta get the dust grant.
Have they gone through do you guys have your policy and gone through your practices, where it's at, who's in charge, who does what? Have you guys put that through your?
On the what?
For this year, not this year.
I think, yeah. I mean, because last year weren't we supposed to have a plan of action? Essentially, if the AEDs needed, these people are in charge of. Hey,
I'm pretty sure that's in our overall
And our big plan.
safety
Yes.
plan
Yes.
that we
all right.
go through.
I did have one
Every
question after reading this, and it's about that 4-letter word that none of us like to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
That because we can't send home, so they will take care of the treatment of.
They have been called in many times.
Got me, Jeff?
Said things.
Yeah, I know.
And they come in, they check, let me know if we need to check more kids possibly in the room. And then they are able to talk to the parents too and recommend different
Right.
strategies.
But we're not
suggestions.
having other staff members here do treatment. Okay, that was my,
We are not. So
because the way I read it, it should like that. I was hoping that's the way that's the way that
no,
was.
they've been contacting parents and letting them know.
Good deal.
Giving them a nice handout on what needs to be done with the dryer and the
Mhm.
everything. So,
Perfect.
and I really do think this last year was pretty good. We're so much looking. So, yeah, no. Anytime I've had any
Okay. That was the only random thought that I had rolling through my
things happening. They come in, check it out, let us know if it's something that can just be covered or if it needs to be treated before they can return. They have been really good with our diabetic students. What else?
They were at enrollment.
Yeah, all of our immunizations.
Everybody.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is this just the first reading, or is this something that we need to?
No, that's just it's
It's
like
just
agreement.
that we need to be aware of that you guys are signing.
No, you guys need to pass it because you have to sign it. If the board passes.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
To okay this
Yeah.
To okay that contract.
agreement
Yeah.
or the contract. Okay.
Yeah.
I move to approve the agreement or contract with the Rollins County Health Department.
Not till they pass it. I'm not signing nothing, Eric.
I'll second it.
Okay, Terry, you seconded?
Yep.
Yes, you did. All in favor? All opposed? Now I will sign it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. There you go.
Thank you.
I gotta give you heck somehow, Eric. All right, budget figures.
Okay.
Harry thought it was a good meeting.
So this year I did a little different. We couldn't remember if we had
I know.
shared like the budget document when we went through this, but if I remember right, if we did, it was really hard to follow through. So I thought I could give kind of the highlights of it and then share it with you like online because it's really hard to read it when it's printed out. So last time we went over the valuations, and we get these from the county in June, and I believe they're estimates until they're finalized later on in the year. The authority, so our general fund per pupil is $57.78. Our LOB per pupil is $58.57. So right now our FTE that we get to use, and it's based off of last year's numbers, is 355.8. And so our numbers this year were 340 something. So we're a little bit lower. And so with the general fund, with our multipliers and everything, SPED, we're at 699.5. And it wasn't that long ago we were budgeting 735, 740. So that number has gone down quite a bit. And that's just so we don't have the surprises at the end of the year. Just with everything, you do try to budget a little higher just so that in May we're not republishing. So general fund this coming year would be $4,041,711. That is just like what we talked about, a little higher than what we would anticipate. The LOB with the different per pupil is $4,093,011, and that's 33% is where we get our LOB budget, which is $1,350,760. Now, based off of what we estimate and everything, we have to do required transfers for special education. Those are your teachers and paras. You get a percentage of their salaries, basically get reimbursed back to you, and then they have other expenses like what we pay. Part of what we pay to the co-op is it flows through us and things, and then a couple years ago they added an additional amount, which the past several years has been about $55,000. So that's included in that. And then we do pad it a little bit. That's where we like to pad, I guess, is in there. Last year we received about $290,000 on it. At risk is based off of the formula and our at risk student numbers, what we anticipate, and the multiplier that they have. And so that's based off of free lunches. And so it's 374,992. LOB, we're required to do a bilingual. We're always above that number, so that's never a cause of concern to worry about, because we always do about 35,000, actually probably 35 to 38,000. At risk, we're required to put some of our at risk or LOB into that, and then SPED as well.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Can I leave and still have you guys do this? Or do we need to?
Nope.
I
It's
didn't
not
think so.
sound-
Action.
The only thing we could do is go over the information, but we can't take any action.
Yeah.
It's
So
not
can
on
I ask,
this.
can I make a motion for like a 15-minute personal needs break and go and do my parent
I mean,
thing?
I think I don't know. I think we need 4 for that.
You need 4 for an action. I hate to be rude, but I gotta go be a parent too.
So I would say do the 15-minute break.
Okay. Is everybody okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
No qualms? Sorry, I get to be the only parent tonight. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion for a break for 15 minutes.
I second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Okay. I'll be right back.
to where?
We are
See?
on 2716.
All right. Chandler, are you ready?
We're good.
Okay. We are going back into regular session. Sounds like we are on new business, preliminary budget figures. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. What you got for us?
All right, so we had gone. So the LOB, our budget for that is 1,350,760. Our mill rate for that would be our proposed mill rate is 22.187 mils, which is an increase of 0.594 mils, and so that would be the only increase from last year in the proposed budget. State aid is increasing from 140,000 to an estimate of 171, 276. That is possible that would go down a little bit as well. Let's see here. Just general fund, like what we talked about before. We have a starting balance of 0. That is not what we want to do. And so with the general fund, we always want to spend what we're allotted basically. And then in that, we have transfers. These are all estimates right now, but food service of 20,000, sped of 332,900, just like what we just talked about. Professional development of 10,000. That risk is based off of our numbers, and then CTE of 10,000. So then we go to federal funds. This is one I need to work through a little bit harder. I did some initial work on it last week. One thing with the federal funds, they keep getting lower than what we've had from year to year. One thing, these are based off of what we truly are getting. One of the things I need to go back through and really work through is put a little bit of a higher estimate on them, just so in case things change a little bit, we're not having to republish basically. So the federal funds include title. Let's see here, Title 1, Title 2, 3, the Rural Schools Opportunity Grant, which we usually spend on technology. That's what these are all based off of. If you remember a couple years ago, they were much higher. That was with all the ESSER money and all that. And we are officially done with all that. So there's that. LOB, our starting balance is 64,279. The tax required to meet the budget of 1,350,760 is 1,158,876, and so that's a mill rate of 22.187, which is that increase of 0.594. So, like I said, with our we're with our required transfers and things, we go way over with bilingual. CTE, we've done around 200,000. Food service is 85,000. At risk is 200,000. Professional development is 15,000, and then SPED is 285. And so between LOB and general fund, that's where we build the budgets for all of our other funds, basically.
outside. I mean, there's a handful we don't, or a couple we don't, like capital outlay or capers, things like that. Here's just a comparison of the proposed mill rates between those. So then at risk, our starting balance is 134,300. Revenues, these are just the transfers that we had. And then if you remember a year ago, or in the past, we had tried to show a balance in the budget document. But that's basically just money we can't use at that point if we have an emergency or something. So it was recommended to me that we just show that we're spending it all and everything. But so that's what we would propose, be able to spend. Last year we spent 672, 299. There are some different rules with at risk now, and we're gonna have to go through those to make sure we're meeting those rules. The goal would be, I mean, really, we want to get our balance up there. That may be really hard with where we're starting off. But the goal would be eventually to get us up to about 155, 160. Bilingual starting balance is 3812, which is pretty normal. We're around that range. Revenues 36,760, and then expenditures of 40,750. Last year we were at 29,608. So we want to be around the 4,000, 4,500 range. As we get past these into, we'll go through capital outlay, which really doesn't account for what I'm about to say, but we start getting into like food service and SPED and I think CT. I'd have to go back and check, but we've actually spent less last year than we did the prior year. That was kind of showing in the budget. Capital outlay, our starting balance is 1,774,078. Revenues, we still have some money coming in to think about. We have the depreciation of the business personal property. There's some time element that we'll have, and I'll go through that here in a minute again, and then some regular capital outlay. And so that's what we have in that. Expenditures, I do think this will be a higher year for expenditures and capital outlay, just because at some point we're going to reach the end of the bond money during this year. And so we have to give ourselves authority to do that. So capital outlay funds, what we have in the actual account is $9,174,087. In the building project, we have $8,846,149. And that's between what we received, interest money, and things like that. It's not just the building though. It's also like our the business personal property and things like that. That's included in that number. Kind of some expected revenues is these are. I apologize. These are the numbers that I think we submitted a year ago, was in April. And so these are all the rental costs basically from then till now. And so we have about 66,833 remaining. And I sent an email to the adjuster for this number. And then I know this is what we have to our $2 million limit, but I also said we have to dismantle, and I just put the estimate from the from Box, and it was around 310,000 on there. The replacement, we have a couple items. I would guess we might have about 15,000 that's probably a little high. But the track timing system kind of stopped working, and some of those electronic things were guessing just because of smoke damage and things. So we're trying to get that. And then we have the business personal property depreciation, which is this 266,727. Mill levy, we usually get about 420,000 or so. And then we end up with some interest that we get every year as well. This is where we're at with the kind of each part of the building project. I went ahead with this and just put the building project because it's so connected to capital outlay, and we'll go ahead and go over as well it's code 62. It's the bond and interest in the budget document as well. But the beginning balance with what we received from the bond money is this 31 million, and then these are the expenditures to date. We've gained some more interest money from it, and this is the amount that we've received in that. And then this is what we have remaining after all those. And then same with the insurance money. We did not spend any money last year out of the project from the insurance money because it was all through the bond money. And so we've gained this in May, we gained about 150,000. There's 147, I think, of more interest money. And I think after we get done in the next one would be in November. I don't know that we're going to be able to keep the money in a CD just because we're going to have to be able to access it to pay our bills. Sorry. So this is the amount that we have remaining, but that does include like the business personal property and things like that. The other thing is with these together, our total amount is 22,312,446. And we have about 19 million left to pay for like the GMPs, but we also have some of the other things like the GMP or the furniture, the what's some of other, the door access system, cameras, connectivity, things like that. We still have some things to work through. So there's that. I did a quick estimate today, and I didn't. It wasn't. I didn't truly reconcile like dollar to dollar, just estimate wise. It was around 900,000 or a little more for the like wish list items. I will preface that I did go back to the bond advisor asking how much we should hold back, and he did state he recommended 200 to 300 for the sales tax shortfall to us. So when I did the 900,000, I took $300,000 out of that.
Is that just for 1 year then?
No, I think that we were about 44,000 off for 1 year. It was just, it was so that if we have a couple years there that way.
And over 30 years, over the span of this, it could fluctuate that or more, right?
It could, but more than likely it's gonna have years that are good, years that are like last year where we're a little short. And so we just, this would give us some time to hopefully have a better year.
The entire amount was based, when we did estimates originally, it's based off of receiving about $500,000, 500,000, right?
Yeah. And we got.
And what is the tax revenue that the county has gotten for the last 10 years? What is it average? Because they're the only the other one that gets a 1%, right?
I don't know what they've received the past 10 years.
So I mean, that would probably be something that we should maybe ask or check into, because I'd say that if we do an average of what the county's received of 1% sales tax, that would give us what we're going to be getting.
I would disagree to an extent because things cost less or more now than we're naturally
That
going to get.
number has been inflated tremendously over the last.
I said an
30 years.
average.
That's
If you
not
do
gonna
an
give you-
average over a 10 or 15 year span, that'd give you a better estimate than throwing a dart at a dartboard.
I don't think it would, with the way that it's increased the last couple of years, but.
So
three-year-
it's
a 3-year
increased the
average-
last couple years.
A 3 years average would be way more accurate than a 10.
It's increased the last couple of years, but yet we were a shortfall.
Well, why didn't you speak up back then when we were talking about it?
I
No, wait a minute. When they figured the bond payment and the interest, they figured it based on an increase in valuation and an increase in sales tax. Am I not right, Eric?
Yeah, it was a slight increase in valuation, and I believe that they kept the sales tax very, very small increase. I can go back to Clayton and ask for sure, but I believe that's what it.
I can't find the spreadsheet for the projected payments are for the bond.
I can get that.
But
I have that. I can
it
get that.
adjusted year to year. My memory's correct.
Yeah. So what it does is we have two payments every year, one in March and then one in August. And so in August is a full interest payment. No, excuse me. Take that back. In March it's a full interest payment, and then we have an interest payment and a principal payment with the September one. And so what happens with it is as we go along, the money goes to paying the interest off more at the beginning, and then as we get further along, it pays more of the principal balance. And so what ends up happening, if you really look at it, and it's not a lot of money each year, it ends up being a pretty good sized gap by the end of the term, 30 years from now. But what it does is, like, that payment in March starts to get smaller. The one in September starts to get a little bit bigger, just as we go. And it at first it's only like $10,000 difference on each one, but that gap starts getting bigger. But Terry, I have that document. I'll get you a copy of it.
But the fact is, if valuation dropped, or due to inflation in the economy, our sales tax revenue dropped, we're gonna come up short on the payment.
Yeah, that can happen, but hopefully as we go through this, like, hopefully that we're getting a balance so that we can deal with an instance where we're short a year, and then we're not worried about what happened. We don't have to worry about, we can make the payment and everything.
So to answer your question, Jordan, is I guess I didn't know that we had made a payment before and seen that we were short, so that's why I didn't ask those questions. I apologize for that. For the before. But now that we do see this, don't you think it's appropriate to ask some questions?
Sure.
Okay. Is there any way we can get an entire copy of the budget right now?
Right now, it would take us 20-30 minutes to get an entire copy of it.
Okay, can I have one emailed to me tonight or tomorrow?
Yeah, I was gonna put a copy of it into the board folder.
Thank
I
you.
said that at the beginning.
And then that list that you give Terry, would you mind sending it to?
Yeah, I'll just put it in the board folder. Are there any questions? Any more questions on?
Thank you for letting us have a timeout so I could go be alone. All this could be parents.
Timeout? You were in timeout?
I am always in timeout. Sometimes it's personal choice.
I need a timeout.
Driver training. Our starting balance is 8,282. Revenues 3890. We get an amount with the students. We get some aid back with it. Expenditures just like what we've had in the past. Just to give us the authority. It was our expenditures this year or last year, excuse me, were 4512. So we would hope to have around 8,500 at the end of it. Food service, our starting balance is 66,694. We were around 70,000. We're pretty close on that one. Revenues 426,273, and the expenditures to spend everything would be 492,967. And this year we spent 382. So we would hope that we'd have around that same 70,000 allowed. One thing I did learn last year is we're allowed a certain amount with federal funds and everything. So we're allowed 3 months worth of expenses, which is if you take I think it's like the 10 months in school is what you have to go off of, is around 120,000. Professional development. A year ago, we kind of didn't realize the cost of training we had, and so we had a big bill with it. We did not have that this year. So our expenditures were much less in there, but we want to make sure we have the funds. This is a good place to kind of have some money kind of padded or whatever you want to say, just the TAC kind of have in our back pocket. So we would hope to have around 12,000 or thereabouts when we get to in June. SPED. This is another fund that we spent less money in compared to the year before. We're at 145,793 to start the year, and then revenues with their transfers and everything are 612,900. And then expenditures 758,693. But last year we spent 574,133. We had to, even outside of what we had to put in there, we had over 200,000 that we had to transfer just from regular district funds to meet SPED. And so that's where when we talk about the underfunding, if you hear that in the news, that's really where that's coming from. So at the end of the year, we'd hope to have about 150,000. CTE, this balance is one that has gotten a little bit lower than what I'd like for it to go. Our expenditures last year were 111,353. So I really do have, I think a good goal for this year would be around 120,000 if it works out. And then capers, this is one that just flows to us and flows right back. And so we just have to make sure we have more than enough. This doesn't affect any of our other budgeting or anything like that. So we just have to make sure this is what we spent last year. We have to take into account any new staff and things like that. So we just want to make sure we have enough left over. Textbooks, this is not a budgeted one. Our balances last, we put part of the reading curriculum into there. So it did go down by about $20,000 or so. With that, we did improve or update a lot of our curriculum through the ESSER funds. And now that those funds are gone and we've had a little bit of time, we need to start looking at how to increase that fund to help pay for some of the updates that will be upcoming in the next couple of years. The code 99, and that's what's in your packet, will be put on that's what'll go on the newspaper and the school website. So that'll have to go mid to late this month, and then in September 14th we have our hearing in our board meeting to pass the budget. So that'll be upcoming. Kind of a thing to look at, and this is kind of what we've been discussing. Just our cash balances. We do have a little bit of a trend of going down, and part of a lot of that is just the pressures of having a little bit of a decline in enrollment now, and that trend of it. So these numbers are based off of select balances, like funds, like a SPED, at risk, those type of funds. It doesn't include obviously like CTE, because we blow that out of the water, or excuse me, capital outlay, because we blow that out of the water right now. If that makes sense, So, and that's something the state document puts together. Are there any questions on the budget? I do not have. Well, I just got the information for the rec commission. That's why I don't have that in there for tonight. So that's not on the code 99. I think it shows an error or something on there. I'll have to run to Topeka here in the next couple of weeks to talk with the state to review the budget and things. The other part of that is with moving into the new building, we have to do some things with the codes for our building to move to the new building and things. There's also a process with whatever we decide to do with this building, we have to give the legislature first dibs on buying it, basically. So there's a process to it. So
I'd say make that a pretty good price then.
Yeah. So that's part of the reason for going there is to get some information on that. All right. That's all I got on that.
I turn it back over to Megan.
Oh, thank you. And I do thank you guys for letting us have a timeout, a break, a recess. All right, so we're gonna move on to, do we need administrative report since we have it all printed out and all that? Is there anything that we need to highlight other than what we already have?
The only thing was, I don't know, we have the Parent Square app that we're kind of rolling out with everything, and we'll have some more information. We wanted to, some schools started doing it July 1st, and we wanted it when it was relevant to parents and things like that. So we've kind of waited more to closer to the time, but
And Dion just did a good job explaining it all and what's allowed, what's not allowed, what's, what the Facebook sports pages look like, what's acceptable. And so change is hard, but
yeah,
it's going to be okay.
But it's not the emergency medical release forms for this you're signing today, and I think last time I checked, we're at 44% have already signed it and returned it back. So
is that one of the things that dings my phone?
probably.
Sign it, Megan. All right, is that it for admin? other than what we already have?
That's all I have, unless you guys
I
have.
mean, we sent you guys reports and we've got a bunch of them we sent. So,
I like that.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right, we will move on to executive session.
Minutes,
Comments? Hires, resignations,
Yeah, 5.
retiring,
5 minutes.
transfers. 5 minutes, board and admin.
Yeah.
Their motion.
Madam President, I'll move to go to executive session for non-elected personnel, hires, resignations, retirements, transfers for 5 minutes with board and admin.
Second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. back in regular session. Is there any action on that executive session?
Just those three.
I move to approve the hires of Andy Barnum for elementary para, Catherine Hurst for kitchen staff help, Rob Sattler for bus driver.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Executive session number 2. Classified staff salaries. Who's in on this one? Board and you?
Where we typically done board and admin.
All we want.
Five minutes, 10 minutes?
I'm gonna say 5 minutes, but we'll be back in
10 minutes?
10 minutes.
10.
Okay. Madam President, I'll move to go into executive session on elected personnel, classified staff salaries, board and admin for 10 minutes.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. back in open session. Is there a motion to go back in? Or what do you guys want to do?
Does anybody want more discussion on it?
I think there needs to be a little more, but there's mud. Is there any request to go back in or action? Or are we?
How much time does anybody want?
I'm good as well.
Another 10 minutes? I move that we go back into executive session for non-elected, what was it? Non-elected personnel for salaries. Yeah.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? 10 minutes.
good.
We're good to go. All right, we're back in open session. Is there any discussion or action? Do we need to go back in? Make a motion.
I move we go back into executive session for 5 minutes, 10 minutes with board and admin.
How long did you say?
So 5 minutes, I think.
5
Right?
minutes?
Yeah.
You said 5?
Oh, 10. Sorry.
She said 10.
10.
She's at 10.
Second.
Okay, been moved in second and all in favor? All opposed? I was giving you a minute, you would delete that. Okay, 10 minutes.
We're ready.
Oh, great. We're back in open session. All right. Any more discussion or is there any action on the executive session?
You wanna do it?
You have a motion, Harry?
You want me to make a motion?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that recommend a 3% salary increase for classified staff.
I'll second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Okay. This is the last one, right? Right, boss?
Yeah.
All right. Administrative staff salaries, executive session, how long? And whom?
75 minutes.
75 minutes.
No, 7 to
Please.
5. 7 to
30. How many times we go in 30?
I'm gonna need a Dr. Pepper if we're in for more than this.
I got you.
Deal.
We've got you.
I move that we go into executive session for 15 minutes for administrative salaries with the board.
Okay. There's a second.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? Carried.
You're good to go.
Okay, we're back in open session, correct? Are you good?
Yep.
We awesome? All right. Start
Right.
a discussion or action.
Madam President, I move to give the administrative staff a 3% increase.
Is there a second? Is there a second? Okay, motion dies.
I move that we do a 1.2% increase for administrative staff salaries.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to increase admin staff salaries by 1.2%. All in favor? All opposed?
Madam President, I move to give the administrative staffs a salary increase of 2%.
Is there a second?
that.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to increase admin salaries by 2%. All in favor? All opposed? Have to have 4 to carry it, so it's done.
I'm gonna make a motion to table this until next month.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded to table this subject matter for next month's monthly meeting. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 4-1. Anything on the back? Nope. Terry?
I'll make a motion, we go into adjournment.
I second that.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? All opposed?